Alright, guys. So this is a new idea here. Alright. Give me your thoughts, but it could not work. Y'all know me. Or at least most of y'all do. For the past 10 years, I've suffered from my mental shit. One day I could be ecstatic, like life is the best thing in the world. The next I could hate everything in it and ask God to end my life tomorrow. It's hard. Sometimes I don't know what the answer is. Sometimes going to a hospital, while it seems like the best idea at the time, it only makes things worse. So I propose this. It's simple. Anyone needs anything, talk here. It's just a support system. It's nothing more than you want it to be. But if you're having a bad day, don't be alone. Whatever you do. The biggest problem with mental illness is everyone thinks they're alone. You can be surrounded by 100 people and still feel alone. You're not. So, that being said, anything that is said in this group is confidential. It will be private at some point. But you can always do what I did. Just keep something on as a picture. It doesn't have to be your face. Okay? So that way you have that privacy. No one has to see your stuff. Even if you have to make a damn separate Facebook account just to come to this group to feel safe, do it. No matter what, you're not alone, people. Okay? There's 80 billion different types of mental illnesses in the world. None of which you're alone for. But, so this is day 1. I'm at least going to try this for about 7 to 14 days. Let me know if it helps. It might not. But I'm going to try to only add people that I know could benefit. And if you know anybody that can, let me know. And if you find out this group's not for you, leave it. Because everybody else that is actually trying to get help does not need the negativity. We are here to help each other, nothing else. Alright? Now, if I didn't do it, I'd be lost, so I had to do it once, but it'll never come back on this channel again, okay? Hashtag Uncle Ben's Lives Matter and Operation Cohabitation are my 2 other groups. If you could, take a look. If not, it's okay. That being said, I'm reading this book tonight. Through the Darkness Hide Thee. I forgot I even had that. Certain people, y'all, know this. It's hard as fuck to still read this. I have the other half somewhere. Words fail. God's love and peace from Safala. My child, my son, believe when I say that I truly love you with all my heart, my soul. I am praying for you. I know that God is embracing you. Just hope you feel it, Mama. Even that one I have trouble with. Hey, everything is going to get better. I'm going to be with you the whole way. Good luck. Keep smiling. Cando Commando. Hey Corey, I love you. You're amazing. You know that? I'm so glad that you are one of those friends. Life will change as you know it. Keep your head up when it needs to be. God will take care of you. Count on Him. Trust in Him. Trust yourself. Everything will work out. Just remember, I will always love you, Dad. I mean, that's stuff I already know, yes. But it's hard to read. I mean, there's even stuff from Brie, like the first real relationship. I don't count Veronica. I mean, she was fun and all, but it was a stupid mistake. I know that. It's like half my exes. They're the biggest mistake of my life. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this book. Just chapter 4 where I'm at. I wandered through the rooms in the dim indoor daylight, wondering where to start unpacking. I hadn't been in a tenant house since just after my college graduation, when it had been occupied by an elderly cousin universally known as Miss Clooney. Her lime green curtains still hung at the upstairs window, and the faint reek of illness lingered in the fireplace room where she had spent her days. I stuffed the curtains into the burn barrel in the backyard and opened all the windows. Old houses in the country smelled differently than old houses in the city, in Philadelphia. The lingering scent of years of living bore traces of mothballs and cooked cabbage. Here the familiar mustiness was overlaid by decades of drifting wheat dust and tang of fertilizer. I decided to unpack all the books in the fireplace room. We could build bookshelves beside the fireplace. The mantel was an old beak beam, and the front window overlooked Poverty's Ridge great spreading fields. The movers had piled Thomas's old wooden desk at our reading chairs and bookshelves into a heap in the middle of the floor. I pushed furniture around, unrolled our faded crimson and blue study rug, and started unpacking books. All of our old favorites, my Southern writers, Thomas Christian's Mystics, the Victorian poets, Jane Austen and Charlotte Bronte. I dipped into the books at random, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the rug with stacks of books all around me. Sun slanted through the window, turning an old dim rung on the floor into a square of glowing color. A warm breeze blew through the windows. At a big barn, halfway down the dirt road, several men were climbing over a harvester with tools in hand. When I leaned forward, I could see Uncle Giddy, trudging empty-handed back down to the graveyard road. I settled back and felt something crumble in my pocket. I shoved the wad of paper from Miss Clooney's dresser into the pocket of my shorts the night before we hadn't taken it out. I flattened the paper on top of Eudora Welty's collection of short stories, and again read those sprawling words, "Will kill me." For a moment, I had an odd prickle down my spine, as though two separate worlds were about to rub catastrophically together. I shook my head impatiently. As I did, I felt that someone was standing behind me. I turned my head sharply and heard Idle Fallon's voice in my memory. "That's the room Miss Clooney died in. So it's good you got some fresh paint, but the tenant's house foundations were Civil War era. I doubt Miss Clooney was the only person who ever died here." I got up with a shiver and went to the kitchen to make a pot of coffee. Another pickup was driving up the dirt road. It slowed at the curve of the road and was pulled into the tenant house yard. I went to the back door and saw Quintus Fowlerland unfolding his long frame from behind the wheel. "Hey, Quintus." "Hey, Amanda," he called back. I went across the grass to hug him. Underneath the denim shirt, his shoulders were hard muscle and bone and not much else. He had always been thin, but I thought he had just lost weight since my last visit. He blinked down at me, half smiling. Quintus was Attaway's only son, which made him, I thought, my first cousin once removed. He was in his mid-30s, tall and mournful and dry-humored. In his face, the heavy Fowlerland features were pared down with spare elegance. His hair was bleached almost white by long summer days, and his big hands were stained. Quintus and I had always been good friends. He taught me how to cast overhead when I was 7 and he was a lofty 15. 10 years later, he had let me drive his stick shift up and down Poverty Ridge Road until I figured it out. I'll see him infrequently since his wedding 5 years ago. He had been shining with happiness, untouched by Attaway's dour face and slight disapproval. "I'm glad to see you," I said. "Come in and look at my house." "Well, I'm supposed to go shoot a clutch of groundhogs for Aunt Cora, but I reckon another half hour of life won't make no difference." "You're not going to shoot them anyway. Uncle Giddy's already been out there morning and scared them all underground. Want some coffee?" "Sure," Quintus said. Follow me into the tenant house. Daddy said he read Giddy the act about getting this place painted. Looks good. Smells better, too. What did he smell like? Miss Clooney, mostly. Quintus sat down at my kitchen table. An ancient meat-cutting table I'd scrounged from Granny Cora's attic and finished long before I met Thomas. I handed him a cup of coffee and said, "You ever heard of a ghost in this house?" "You got the creeps already?" "Just an occasional shiver." "Does Miss Clooney haunt it?" "Huh?" Quintus said. "I reckon Miss Clooney had plenty enough of this house while she was living." "No, I ain't never heard of any ghosts around Littlecroft, except the looper old lady Of course, and the soldier of Fallowland Road. Alright. Today I'm going to take a little bit to read out of some book. That kind of goes along my mood for the day. And this Through the Darkness Hide Thee is rough to read. I'm having trouble with it, but in a way it helps. It's reminding me of what I went through with the death of my grandmother. Which most people know is when my problems pretty much started, which is hard to deal with. But anyway, that's all for today. Day one's done. Day one's done. Tomorrow I'm thinking 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea will be our book. It's still technically a part of the gift box for Colleen for day 8. But I'm going to have to put that off if I'm still going to read it. But I will let y'all know. I love you guys. # Uncle Ben's Lives Matter. Have a good night.